Which TV show got too big for its boots? Is it fair to say Heroes? I love the show, but it was whack for like the last 2 seasons. The reboot was just I don't know what that was. Save the cheerleader, save the world. Okay, we did that, now what? Remember when Peter took his girlfriend to the future, and then just left her there? Honestly, my biggest issue was when they started nerfing Peter and Sylar. They had become a little too powerful since they could collect powers, but the way they kept trying to do it was just lazy writing. Season 2 also had the really annoying Nissan Rogue product placement, which only contrasted with how well they did the Versa in Season 1. Once upon a time interesting concept, poor execution down the line. Every season we had to deal with yet another memory wipe. That got old fast. It was like Heroes. The first season was high-tier TV watching, then every season gets progressively worse until you don't even notice it's off the air. Prison Break. They kept having to break out of prison every 2 seasons. Season 1 was very good. The whole tattoos are the escape plan was really cool. 1 was amazing. 2 was passable. Once he ended up in that inmate-run prison, it was dreadful. That 70s show after Jackie and Hyde broke up, Eric and Kelso left, and Donna became blonde. WTF. Can't believe I had to scroll this far for this. The seasons where Eric is gone, but everyone still hangs out in the basement. Were tough. Red and Kitty carried the show. The 8th season was painful. I will never, ever understand why they made Jackie and Fez endgame when she and Hyde worked so well together. Weeds. Once she left the burbs the whole premise was lost and shit went off the rails. I didn't mind when they were in Ren March once they were on the road, it just became a joke. How many times can you screw up, Nancy? It was pretty predictable that Nancy would fuck her way out of whatever new situation they were in. The only question was occasionally with whom. Her vagina became the most boring deus ex machina. I loved True Blood, but man, it went way off the rails, especially the last couple seasons. They crammed so much shit into the show. I'm still amazed Batman didn't make a cameo. Guy loved it in the books, but then all the fairy shit started happening in both and I was like, fuck you Charlene Harris, what have you done? Also Billith? What the actual fuck? Fairly Odd Parents. The writers were fine, but Nickelodeon got too greedy. The addition of Sparky the dog, the new neighbor girl, and the whole anti-fairy world subplot was too much. They just kept adding stuff, but the original structure was pretty good to begin with. Butch Hartman wanted the series to end after Channel Chasers, and it did briefly end after one of the Jimmy/Timmy Power Hours, but alas, Nickelodeon brought it back a year later and it went on for far, far too long. I hated the new neighbor girl. She gets fairy godparents because her parents travel. They clearly love her and she's taken care of while they are away. Aside from being lonely, how does her life suck as bad as Timmy's? Two come to mind, Glee. The first 13 episodes are good, then somewhere in the second half of the season they started taking themselves too serious. It would have been much better as a one-season show. Heroes, please someone tell me I'm not the only one to remember what a global phenomenon Heroes was touted as. They had their own silly magazine and the worldwide launch party for seasons 2 and 3, but while season 2 could have been decent if it had actually been given time to develop, both seasons were nothing but a mess. Oh Heroes, what could have been? They got hit hard by the writers' strike and never quite recovered. I tried to watch the latest and just couldn't. Glee is my favorite show, and part of the reason it's my favorite is because of how horrible it is, lol. Honestly, after Corey passed away they didn't have a plan for the plot. The plan was to follow Finn and Rachel's story and end with their happy ending, and floundered for a while. They went back to being very comedic in season 5 and 6, and while the plot is absolutely terrible, there are some really funny moments. Nip/tuck for me. Man. First 3 seasons were just fantastic. After that, just went for shock and trash. It's when they moved to LA and for some reason Kimber and Matt came as well. In fact, Kimber was a shoehorned in character and I don't know why they kept her around for as long as they did. I have lots of good memories of that show as it was always crazy town banana pants, but yeah, shit got whack. That's always the way with Ryan Murphy shows. They start out fun, then they just go ridiculous. Shameless, I grew up in a rough neighborhood with a drunk dad. Then they just sorta kept pushing the characters back to where they were and not really letting them evolve. Not to mention Debbie. The last few seasons have been awful. I still enjoy Kevin V though. Exactly. I have watched many dark shows, but this one was by far the most depressing. Whatever they do to improve their situation, doesn't matter how big or small, someone will come, most often their parents, and ruin it for them and drag everyone back into misery. There was one episode that ended with everyone going to bed pretty happy and I just turned it off then. I knew everything will go bad the next episode, as it always does, and I decided I would rather have a fake happy ending than never-ending misery train. Dora the Explorer was always held back by its shitty boots. Have you seen the movie? It was something edit, I should add, I mean I loved it. It was hilarious. House of Cards should have ended after season 2. I don't know if they ran out of ideas or what, but if Frank Underwood went from being some sort of political super genius to one of the dumbest motherfuckers. Grey's Anatomy. It's currently on its 18th season. Almost all of the original cast is gone. I still watch it, but it's not very good anymore. The only reason I watch is because it has been part of my life for half of my life. It came out when I was 15, I'm now 31. I feel like I need to finish it out. I've stopped watching this show so many times. Only reason I'm watching now is because to see who else comes back. I love the one they brought back and cried. I want to say Dexter, but honestly I don't remember how it ends. Something about that dumb girlfriend, something about it was not very Dexter-like edit, so I guess I really did forget the ending because I have no recollection of the lumberjack mumbo jumbo. My friends told me he became a sad lumberjack at the end. I never watched it myself. He wades into a hurricane holding his dead sister, then appears to have survived and has a new life as a lumberjack. It was really bad. Waves hand, there are only 4 seasons of Dexter. The Flash CW. I really liked season 1. Great cast, great writing, and hell of a lot of great moments. Season 2? Not bad, but a repeat of season 1, then they just kept repeating the trope of evil speedster, and then making the characters dumb. I also got tired of the many different Welleses. I quit halfway through one of the seasons, 2, I think, when Patty left. There was a great love interest that Barry had fantastic chemistry with, and it was super freaking obvious that he was the Flash, but he just kept lying to her and refused to come clean even when she told him she knew. Like, dude, all of your friends know, just tell her. The stupid drama caused by poor communication just killed the show for me. My problem is the amount of attention they gave Iris and how everyone ends up being a speedster. Like, you guys have Barry Allen as the main character, but suddenly his place in the plot is being taken up by Iris and her We Are the Flash bullshit. Like, how does an amateur journalist start solving quantum physics problems out of nowhere and become the leader of the team? They should have just let Savitar kill her, which would have motivated Barry and gotten rid of an annoying character at the same time. House of Cards, US version. Season 1 was amazing, season 2 got a little wacky, and the rest was garbage. Storylines just completely abandoned. I didn't even watch the last season for various reasons. The show felt like it had no purpose after Frank became president. I can't tell you how much I hated the writer guy who shacks up with them in the White House. Just a pointless, flat, shallow character who sits there murmuring pointless platitudes with his annoying voice for half an hour each episode. Revolution had an interesting idea of a post-apocalyptic world without electricity, but an awful execution. The main character was a generic Katniss ripoff who claims I can take care of myself, but constantly gets her ass kicked. The uncle character is so milquetoast that even Tom Cruise wouldn't play him. The militia has terrible tactics. The show uses Lost-style flashbacks with the same sound. Despite being post-apocalyptic, everyone has clean clothes and perfect hair. Giancarlo Esposito plays the only good character on the show, a guy who was a meek insurance salesman before, but who turned into Gus 2.0 if he were a military officer. I would really like someone to do a limited run post-apocalyptic show and just say it's only going to be X episodes, or seasons up front, and hopefully have the writing to keep the story on track. Especially with big stories, I think there's a tendency to always be trying to stretch it out. With a 22-episode season, which means half the episodes are going to be pointless anyway and a need to always push for renewal, it doesn't leave any opportunity to actually tell a story in a purposeful way. Subscribe for more hot Reddit takes in your inbox, guaranteed.